Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Targeting Winners. Special edition of this show. We're going to look at the Heisman odds for this year for some future bets on the Heisman. Once again, I'm here with Darren and Peter. How you doing, fellas?
Not too bad. Excited to talk about the Heisman.
Yeah, we had a little request on our last video. I think it was for the Mountain West. Somebody commented they were wondering if we were going to do a Heisman show this year. Well, we did one last year, so we figure we'll do one again this year. I believe that was Nikolai, his name was, that commented on the page. So check us out on YouTube. You can like, subscribe. It's cheap. It's easy. It's free. It's easy. It helps us out. And so we're going to go into the Heisman betting for the future. Let's start off with some tips. What do you got for us, Darren? What are some of your early tips for this?
First of all, I just want to say I love this trophy because it looks like me at Thanksgiving after I've taken the last dinner roll and I'm trying to keep the kids away from it. Yeah, I want this like as a centerpiece of my dining room table because that's exactly what
the dinner rolls.
Yeah, I mean, I don't require a helmet to keep my kids away from the last dinner roll, but that's, when I look at that trophy for whatever reason, that's what I think of. But I guess now I'm hungry. Anyway, so if you guys are new to betting on the Heisman, it's a tough market. I mean, it's you really have to kind of hone in on a handful of guys. You don't want to spread your bankroll too thin on this here. But I mean, the things we're going to go over here really quick, pretty much common sense. I mean, this has been most recently a quarterback award, much like the NFL MVP has been. Oddly enough, though, to this day, running backs have won the Heisman more than QBs have, which I found really, really odd. From 73 to 83, I think it was a running back every year. Then from 84 to 2000, only 6 running backs won it. And then it was 8 quarterbacks in that same time frame. And then from 2001 up until last year, 19 quarterbacks have won the award. So that slide Tim has got right there shows you the last 12. I think I sent you a dozen. Just who's won it. As you can see, 9 of the 12 winners, QBs. But that nice column on the right there, if you bet this, anytime between now and say week 1, Marcus Mariota was actually the only favorite in the last dozen years to bring the trophy home. So just looking at some of those prices, I mean, if you had Lamar Jackson in 2016, congrats, man. You're probably still spending that money, but tough market. But if you get it right, a big end of the season bankroll builder for sure.
I just want to say I appreciate you going back far enough to get Jameis Winston on there.
I did that for you. I
feel all the love.
I mean, plus 9 out of 12, 75%. We all went to Mahanas and math's not our strong suit. So I just figured, 3 goes into 9, 3 goes into 12, 75%. Welcome to 4th grade math. So yeah. But yeah, definitely if you're new to the market, I'll just say start first thing you want to do, start your focus on quarterbacks because the trend over the last quarter century is this is a quarterback driven award. Pete, what else should we be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this has been a challenging bet over the years. I've not been very successful betting on the Heisman winner because it's difficult. There's so many things you need to take into consideration. That number one, obviously they need to perform. Number 2, they need visibility. So you need that, right? They need to be on TV. They need to be seen. They need to be playing bigger games, which helps. Big wins help. So that's something else. And then just team performance overall. You could have an absolute superstar, but the team is floundering or doing something even just a little bit north of that, and that will cost them. So that's the challenge, is balancing all this out, right? Which is why we've kind of weaved this into our conference previews, because we need to look at the team, the schedule, and the individual performance. And it's just a really challenging bet. Honestly, I didn't walk into here today with a bet in mind. I'm actually looking forward to the discussion so I can come up with one as we have this discussion, hopefully the same way that a lot of our listeners are today. So I'm kind of excited for it because I want to hear more about some of these players as well. So looking forward to this discussion, and we'll see if we're done when we're done today, if I have a bet.
Tim, did you have anything else you looked at? Because last year, I believe you had the right school last year.
I had the right school. That's what I was just about to say. I followed Pete's advice that he just gave last night. Just now. Last year, I had a quarterback, had a lot of exposure. I I picked the Colorado Buffalo. I picked the wrong one. So it was plus 4,000, which I loved. And yeah, so make sure your quarterback doesn't have a receiver who also plays cornerback, who's going to be the best at both positions, and just like overshadow everybody. That's the last tip I would add for that. So yeah, I picked Shador for the Heisman, and it went to his buddy Travis Hunter, and current Jaguar.
Another thing you pointed out, which is another factor that maybe not a lot of people consider, and Pete touched on this also, was, you know, almost 900 people vote on this award, and they're all members of the media. So the hype that the media generates is also a thing. I mean, you see somebody with a platform like ESPN, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, whatever, the chances are they have a vote, and they're going to pimp their guy. That's why Arch Manning, who's been hyped up from last year,
2 years ago,
played.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, he just that name alone, he's going to get hype. He continues to get hype, and as you'll see, it's part of the reason why he's the odds-on favorite as we record this video.
All right, well, let's pull up some of the odds here. Got our front runners here. Looks like we got some up. Hey, look, it's quarterback heavy. Any initial thoughts when you look at this, Darren?
Well, my pick we'll discuss later on. He's way down the line there. But yeah, I mean, if you look at these, I kind of broke these off into tiers for a reason. Again, that first tier that the guys we're going to get into a little bit. Again, all quarterbacks, all on teams that are expected to do well for the most part. That second tier is guys who, well, most of the guys you may not have heard of, or guys that have very little experience, but they're also on teams that are expected to do really well, be that in contention for their conference title, or maybe even to make the 12-team playoff. And then every year, that third tier, there's a handful of guys who don't play quarterback, which you do have to consider, because even with all the QBs that have won it in the last 25 years, 2 of the last 5 years, a non-QB has won the award. So while we certainly recommend start your handicapping with the quarterbacks, you can't totally rule out other positions as well. And you can see the public loves them some Jeremiah Smith. He's literally like the 4th betting choice, and he is not a quarterback, but he should be in the NFL, but that's a entirely different show. So that's kind of how we started breaking this down here.
Yeah, I mean, for the non-quarterbacks, they got to have a ridiculous year, don't you think? I mean, I'm not seeing it. I think last year, because with all the hype and how talented he was, I think they're going to go right back to the quarterbacks. I would rule out. I mean, if one's going to win, it's going to be him, but he'd have to have what, like 30 touchdowns maybe, or 35. I mean, just
Devonta Smith didn't I don't know what his stat line was, but you remember when he won it 5 years ago.
That's true.
Even when he won it, the other 3 guys that were in New York with him were all QBs. So it's even though he got the win, I believe the vote was somewhat close, but he was deserving, and a lot of that is team success, and like you said, exposure as well. I mean, Alabama's on more often than not. We all know that ESPN loves them some Southeast Conference, so it's no shock that 4 of those top 7 guys all play in the Southeast Conference, because they're probably going to be hyped more than most.
All right. Well, let's jump into it. Let's move along here. Some of the bets, and the first one we got Arch Manning. What's his odds? 700, 750. I just had
700 at FanDuel.
700. Well, can't get much more exposure than the last name. I mean,
right.
I mean, so hey, is that up? Everyone thinks pedigree. Obviously, he's talented. Going to be on a good team at plus 700. The main part, or the main problem I would say that I have with this when I do these futures, I like to swing for the fences. I'm looking for plus 2,000 or more. On this one, that would be the only reason I wouldn't pick. I mean, it's obviously not a bad pick, but if you're going to tie up your money on a future bet for 4 or 5 months, swing for the fence. But I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, I'm sitting next to a signed Peyton Manning jersey next to me right here, so clearly I have a bias here. But I think the price is too short. He really hasn't started, right, with any degree of he's had very few games under his belt. So I think that's a challenge. I mean, yeah, certainly the pedigree, it'd be hard to argue against that. But I don't think he's going to win this year. I just think there are going to be some, well, I'm going to call him a rookie, even though he's not, because basically as a starter, he's essentially a rookie. He's going to make rookie mistakes. There's going to be issues. I don't see him standing out enough to win this, although I'd really like to see that happen, but I don't think it'll happen this year. So I'm actually not going this direction with mine.
Right. And that's Cooper's kid, right? Arch. Right.
Correct.
Okay. It's not. Yeah.
It's not Peyton or no.
Yeah, or Eli. So, Dan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have so much a problem with the number because I think the media hype is obviously baked in here. I think the fact that Texas is your second betting favorite to win the national championship feeds into that as well. If you think 700 is too low, you better hope he doesn't go into Columbus and beat Ohio State on August 30th, or just don't even bet him at all. So if you do like Arch Manning, bet him before that game, because if he and I think he doesn't even really need to win that game as long as he performs well, because they're going to be, like Pete said, not a lot of experience here, but you're going to go into Columbus and play a solid game against the defending national champions. As long as he doesn't crap the bed, his number is still going to probably be too short. But I would say if you do all your research and you think Arch Manning is the guy, do it before kickoff, because if he goes in there and wins that game, 3-1, 4-1, maybe if you're lucky, and the best number is going to be off the board. And that's another thing that makes it so difficult about this particular market. Week one, you could have gotten either a terrible number or a great number. It just depends on whether you want to risk that, at the end of August. But I would just say I'm not betting Arch Manning, but if you want to, do it now.
Whew, yeah. What do you think if he looks good in a loss against Ohio State?
I don't think it hurts him.
Don't think
it shouldn't hurt him.
37-34. Maybe he's got 4 tutties and a pick.
That won't hurt him. Going into that place and playing like that will not hurt him. It'll only prop him up more.
Exactly.
Especially if they lose like Texas has been losing, which is they can't stop anybody, right? The issue that Texas has been having these big games, they can't play any defense, so they're constantly chasing. If that happens there and he's chasing and he falls a little short, that will only shorten these odds, because then he truly will look like a Heisman candidate. So, yeah.
Yeah, if he goes in there, they lose by 3 touchdowns. He goes like 8 for 19 for 157 yards and 2 picks. Yeah, then you want bet him on August 31st, because his number is going to be sky high, because he certainly has, if you're looking at that schedule, playing in the SEC, plenty of chances to redeem himself. That week 6 game at Florida, and then week 7 in the the neutral game against Oklahoma, and then especially towards the end of the season, that game at Georgia. I mean, didn't Texas struggle against Georgia twice last year?
Yes.
He pulls out a win at Georgia. Okay. All of a sudden, at that time of year, forget it. He's going to be the guy again. So,
all right. Let's move this along. The next favorite. Hey, look, the SEC. Who'd have thunk it? Darren, I got Nessmeyer here. What are you thinking about him? He's at plus 850. I got him here.
Yeah, I like this guy a lot. But there's a handful of coaches I can't trust, and Brian Kelly kind of makes that list. Do I want to say he's the best quarterback in the SEC? Yeah, I might. I think he could be. But as you'll show shortly, I got some serious questions about this schedule, man. I've read all the hype. LSU's all in, which again, hype. There's that word again, probably driving his number as low as it is. But again, another week 1 guy that could make or break your bet. They're going to Clemson, and we all know Clemson again, another favorite to win the national championship as well. He goes in there, has a good game. We all know Clemson against the SEC lately hasn't been a good thing for Clemson. But if he puts up a good performance, win or lose, he's still going to be up there as a favorite. I like him a lot, but he's got a tough schedule.
I've seen a few. They showed highlights from games last year, and I was a lot of times thinking, "Ooh, that was a good pass." Oh, you put that right in there. There's some passes he looks really, really good. Pete, what do you got on him?
Absolutely love the man. Just fantastic quarterback. I mean, who knows after my Colts have another lovely year this year with two quarterbacks, both of which stink. The walking injury in Richardson and Danny Dimes over here. If they both go to the crapper this year, which they could, he might be in the market for a quarterback, and I would love to get my hands on Garrett. Now, we probably won't lose enough games to be up there, but I think he's going to be an excellent NFL quarterback. I think Aaron said it, right? It's going to come down to what LSU does. Right, if they're competitive, and he is, if they're competitive, he's certainly going to be leading the way. Then he's absolutely a player in this game, But if LSU stumbles, if they have a problem with Clemson early on, and all of that, who knows, right? Who knows where this goes? I still, it doesn't matter if he wins the Heisman. I still think he might very well be the best quarterback in the country, certainly in the SEC. So I think he's a fantastic prospect. So this is not. I expect he'll perform. I think this is going to come down to the team and not him. So we'll see how that plays.
Yeah, and the thing is, if he does that schedule, if he performs well against that schedule, I mean, they only have the 5 road games, but I mean, look at Clemson, Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma, the Pavia Mafia at Vanderbilt, and then even home, you've got Florida. Assuming DJ Lagway's healthy, that could be a tough game. South Carolina, Texas A&M. I mean, if he performs with this schedule, yeah, I don't care if they're 9-3. I mean, the dude's got to be in consideration. That's absolutely insanely brutal schedule.
It's on to number 3. Speaking of coaches we don't trust, Cade Klubnik, Clemson, my buddy Dabo. So, like I've always said, I think all of Clemson's success has been in spite of Dabo's best efforts to hold them back. But this kid's got talent, and he's in the ACC, so they're probably going to win that conference pretty handedly, I would imagine. Maybe get a challenge from Miami, maybe get a challenge from SMU. Darren pointing to the hat. But what do you think about Cade Klubnik here, boys?
I'll jump on this one first. I think you nailed it, right? It comes down to the team. Now, this is a regular season award, right? Which means that because of the conference that they play in and the fact that they should perform quite well in that conference, I expect he will look good. I think once they get the better competition outside of the regular season, I think there could be some issues there. But I think in the regular season, he'll look good because Clemson should look relatively good, even though I don't trust the coach either. So I'm with you. So who knows what happens there? I don't think the schedule is ridiculous. But I mean, come on, compare it to the schedule for Garrett we just looked at. I mean, this is night and day with schedules, right? So if these guys both perform semi-equally well from the stats perspective and all of that, to me, then it's Garrett's all day long, right? Because he's playing against far superior competition all the way through. So do I think he'll be, in contention? I do, because I think Clemson will be fine in the regular season. So he's somebody who could win the award. Once again, still not being the best quarterback, but he could still win the award. So that's my 2 cents.
And he's at plus 1,100, I believe. Forgot to mention that when we started. Darren, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, like Pete said, the schedule is nothing like what you're going to see with some of these Big Ten guys or even the SEC guys. The first game at LSU, we obviously touched on. That's at home. That last game going to South Carolina. Clemson lost at home to South Carolina last year. But, I mean, in the middle, there's really not too much there. I mean, they go to Louisville. Obviously, I have to pimp that because Louisville went to Clemson and won last year. I mean, there's ample opportunities to pad his stats, that's for sure. But then when it comes down to it, that's also negative. Well, look who they played. He didn't have the type of schedule that Nussmeier had or any of these other SEC or Big Ten guys. So I think that does hurt him. I mean, because statistically, he was awesome last year. I mean, he was ridiculously good. Took a huge step up from 2023. So to ask him to repeat that may be a little bit difficult. He certainly could with that schedule. If you have 1,100 there, FanDuel's got 10-1. Yeah, I just don't know if he's going to have enough quality games there. And the problem with this schedule is you throw a dud in there. You crap the bed, say, against Georgia Tech, on the road. He might be done at that point if he has a bad game week 3, because how many chances is he going to have to legit redeem himself, in prime time? I mean, what any of those games going to be on prime time? Maybe SMU would be on national TV because that was last year's ACC title game.
You got a Louisville game there.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're talking about 9 or 10 other games we're looking at, and we've found maybe like 2, besides the 2 SEC games at the start and the end, where he can certainly make a case for himself. I think it's just numbers. This number's too low, given this schedule. Not a lot of super high quality opponents on there, and just that risk. You throw in a dud. I don't know if this schedule allows him to recover from that.
Yeah,
like him as a player.
There's going to be a dud somewhere.
Yeah, there'll be a dud. There could always be an injury, where there's questions on that running game. Are you going to put too much in his control or ask him to do too much? But I don't know. I like him as a player. Unfortunately, I like the team. But
I just think with the voters also, they like the SEC and Big Ten too much.
Yeah.
That'd be another thing. Look at the best players in those 2 conferences right now.
The thing is,
everything is...
You got media from all over the country. I mean, I think the West Coast guys probably get shafted more because
they're all in the Big Ten and SEC
them.
now, though. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, hey, but you know what?
conferences.
Could that have affected Ashton Genty not winning last year?
Yeah,
Because
it could
he
have.
plays out in the West. Because I mean, if you gave me a vote, I probably would have given it to Ashton Genty. I thought he had, a year for the books, man. I mean, that guy was ridiculous. You take him off that team. I don't even know.
Yeah, it'll be worse. Not much worse, but still be worse. 10.
But if he had, if he went to Colorado or Deion Sanders was coaching at Boise State, we go back to the hype factor. Does Genty win that award?
Mm-hmm.
But dude played in Idaho.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all old. We can't be up late at night watching games in Idaho. I mean, God, we need our naps and stuff. Yeah, this number's too short for me to bet on Klubnik.
Yeah.
Right. I would go on to the next one. Speaking of coaches we don't trust, we've got Drew Aller, Penn State.
Oh, I want this one.
Go for it.
Pete,
Big Ten.
go ahead.
Girl.
Here we go. He's plus 1,300, by the way.
I didn't even bring snacks to get ready for this rant.
Now, I'm not going to be as negative as you think I'm going to be, at least not on the coach, because this is obviously a coach that I bash all the time. He proved something to me last year in the playoffs. Honestly, I thought his team was prepared and ready to play all the way through. So that was a positive thing I can say about him. I really like the way his team ready for the playoffs. That's probably the last positive thing I'll ever say about the man. But this is actually more negative on Aller. I watch a lot of Big Ten. Obviously, I'm a Wolverine. I am still not impressed by Drew Aller. I mean, I think he's serviceable. He's better than serviceable. Okay, that was a little harsh, but I think he's a good quarterback. But he happens to be on a really good team right now. Well, at least was last year. I don't know if they're going to be as good this year, but at least they were last year. Obviously, he's going to get press, right? He's going to be on TV. He's going to get all of that. But I think in that case, in this case, that hurts him. I don't think he ever looks all that great. And he really, to me, hasn't shown the ability to throw that team on his back and carry him when they need him. And to me, that's a big check mark against him. So, yeah, I would not go here with this. I don't really think he has a chance of winning this, nor should he. Not entirely because of his coach, because of him and his inability to really step up and carry the team. So that's my 2 cents on that, but I'm just not a Drew Aller fan.
Darren.
I literally have nothing to add. I mean, Pete summarized it perfectly. I mean, you remember the semifinal against Notre Dame. He did not complete a single pass to a wide receiver. Everything I've read about it. Oh, they're bringing in this guy from Syracuse and this guy from here. So what? If he didn't throw him to guys he was used to having on the team, how long is it going to take him to get used to these other guys that are coming in the transfer portal? And I agree. I hear it was completion percent. But he didn't have he doesn't throw the ball deep that often.
Doesn't spread the ball around. He doesn't get his wide receivers open. He doesn't throw anybody open. If they're not open, that's it, right? He's just
the Notre Dame game, he tried to throw that pass off his back foot, trying to do too much. Notre Dame got the pick. Next thing you know, Penn State's going home 5 minutes later. I agree with everything Pete said. Literally, we might be sharing the same brain cell, like you said before we even start. A couple
times today, we have the same tagline, but I mean,
I know.
honestly,
when I was typing that in, I'm like, Pete's never going to put this. I'm like, sorry, oh my God.
He let his coach down last year. His coach actually had the team ready. Yes. He let his coach down. This was not on Franklin.
Nope. Who thought we'd ever say that?
You're right.
Nope.
That feels weird. It feels weird. So.
I need a shower now. What did I just say? Oh my god!
Right? Yeah. Well, there we go. We've got the Penn State schedule. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just commenting that schedule. I mean, who on there outside of the Oregon and Ohio State game is he going to get a chance to really say, yeah, I can? Yeah, I mean, what's the big thing about Franklin? He can't beat anybody top 5.
Yep.
You know, and if
they
you
are taking on Villanova. I mean,
great.
It's fair. And we all know Nevada is a week 1 beast. I mean,
he's got to perform against OSU, right? They got to go to that game, and even if they don't win it, he needs to look like a stud. He needs to carry the team. They will likely lose that game, of course, because it's at the Horseshoe. But if he looks really good in that game and carries that team, then maybe. But he's not going to. I think
Iowa could be tough on the road.
Brilliant. Always. I was just going to say, I think Iowa beats them in mid-October, and then his shot takes a huge hit because there's really nobody else. You know, I mean, he could redeem himself at Ohio State, but still, an Iowa loss is going to be fresh in everybody's mind if that happens. You know, Oregon's not what they once were. I mean, you lost Dylan Gabriel. You lost a lot on both sides of the ball. I mean, I don't get the love for Oregon either. I mean, I think they could easily win this conference. I mean, Ohio State and Oregon both did lose a lot. Penn State's bringing a lot back. Yeah. But like Pete said it perfectly, I don't trust Aller. I don't think I've ever trusted Franklin. As long as the two of them are together, there's
the dream team.
Yeah, that's a crystal ball waiting to happen. I just don't know where it's going to happen.
Let's move on. I withhold comment. Now, this is where we get a little bit interesting here. We're almost getting up into my neck of the woods. Plus 1,800. South Carolina, Norris Sellers. We started with Pete last time. Darren, what are your thoughts on this one? This is interesting, I think.
I like this kid a lot. That schedule scares the living crap out of me. I mean, you just look at the last half of that schedule. Thank you.
There it is.
Just start with after that bye week on October 4. You go to LSU, then you play Oklahoma. You go to Alabama. You go to Ole Miss. Week off. Oh, look, let's go to Texas A&M, at Coastal Carolina, and then Clemson. I mean, if he gets through that and this team is 10-2, he's got my vote because that's. I know Nussmeier's schedule is bad. This is bad. Somebody at South Carolina must have made the schedule makers angry because
they got Virginia Tech week 1 too. That's not a give me.
Nah, they suck. They suck.
Oh yeah,
Metallica left. They're done. Yeah,
they're done. So, and Pete, any thoughts on Lenoris?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a really, really good quarterback. Love the kid. Absolutely going to be a primetime player going forward. I think the issue for him, number one, the schedule is obviously a challenge, which Darren talked about. Number two, if you walk down the street and polled 100 people and asked them for one of the best quarterbacks in the country in college football, his name probably wouldn't even come up. Nobody knows him, right? And that's the issue. He's unknown, so he needs the media. He needs to set some stuff on fire in the first half of this season, like just set somebody ablaze, and it needs to be all over ESPN, all over everything. Like that's what he needs. He needs his coming out game where suddenly he's in the spotlight. If he gets that in the first 3, 4, 5 games, good for him. It might lead him here. Otherwise, he doesn't have a chance because nobody knows who he is, and that's going to be a problem.
I think if they could rearrange his schedule and maybe put the LSU game in September and switch it out with the Vanderbilt game, and if he would upset them, then that would get him the exposure early on, and then he can use the Oklahoma, the Alabama game to ride it out. And if he performs well in those games too, maybe keep it going. But
the one thing I would say to that, if he can perform well in a lot of those games, but if he loses, say, 2 of those. I mean, I know, like I said, if he goes 10-2, he should certainly at least be invited to New York. But you know, how does he look in those losses? Because I mean, Oklahoma's defense is decent. LSU is supposed to be decent. He can put up some nice stats against Alabama. Their offense looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know what to expect of Ole Miss, but a win on the road there certainly would help. You know, the bye week comes at a good time because we already know he can beat Clemson. You know, and now he gets them at home. So I think if he finishes strong, say November, they go 4-0. say they upset Ole Miss, handle Texas A&M on the road, and then shot Clemson again. I think November is going to determine whether this kid's going to New York or not. But he certainly could. He's got all the talent in the world, like Pete said.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move this along. Oh, boy. If this kid was on any other team, I'd be a fan. But you got DJ down here in Florida. He's at plus 1,800. Pete, you start this time. I'm just going to withhold. I can't bet him because I obviously don't want him to win.
Obviously, yes. Well, say taking the bias out of this, right? Really good player. Absolutely should be in discussion, should be considered. I don't know if his team is going to be able to support him through this endeavor, right? I mean, we haven't obviously done the SEC or any of these previews yet. They're coming, but I am not really high on Florida this year. Not that they're going to be abhorrent or something, but to win the Heisman, you need a team that's competitive every week, all season long, and all that. And I don't think he's going to get that. I think he's going to have some problems with this team. So in this case, I think his team is going to let him down. I think he's a really good player that should be getting some hype. But yeah, I just don't see that happening for him with this team.
Darren.
Yeah, I think health is a pretty big concern with this guy because we know Florida really looks like they have no idea what they're doing when he is not on the field. So him staying healthy, obviously, I think is key number one. And, when you put that schedule up, his gauntlet comes right in the middle. And LSU, going to LSU week 3, going to Miami. Not Miami of Ohio, unfortunately, is the actual, Carson Beck led Miami team week 4. And then week 6, Texas, week 7 at A&M, week 10, Georgia. I mean, if he can stay healthy through all that and perform well, give him his props, man. Because, give it to Florida, man. They played a tough-ass schedule last year, and they didn't do themselves any favors this year either. I mean, they've got and I get it, it's the SEC, but it seems like all the teams that are expected to do good happen to be on Florida's schedule. So,
Yes.
But yeah, like Pete said, I don't think the team around him is good as some of the other QBs we've looked at. So for me, 1,800, I think that number is just too low. Obviously, he means a lot to the team. It's one of the teams that, when he's on there, they look really good. I mean, they shocked some people. They have 8 wins last year with that schedule. I mean, September, Napier's on the hot seat. Next thing you know, he's there for another year, and he got Lagway to come back and not enter the portal. So, headed in the right direction. Yeah, I say maybe give it one more year. But, again, that schedule certainly leads me to believe that health is going to be the main thing. And if he stays healthy, he's got a chance. But because if he does well against that schedule, much like the Norris Sellers, you have to consider him. But if I got 25 to 1, maybe 18 to 1. Yeah, I can't pull the trigger on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll withhold. I mean, the only Gator player I root for is the left tackle. So I have 2 old work buddies. He's one of the my work buddy's sons and my other old work buddy's nephew. So other than that, I just root for Austin Barber to look good blocking. But other than that, I don't care for the rest of the team. So that's all I got for that.
You better hope he doesn't give up a sack that injures DJ Lagway. Otherwise,
well, I'm not betting on DJ Lagway,
okay.
So that's fine. So I hope Florida loses. I hope he does well and gets drafted in the first round and gets a $50 million contract and all that. Speaking of schools I don't like, let's go on to now the picture on the video is he's in a Georgia uniform. I cannot find a picture of him in a Miami uniform. We're talking about Carson Beck. All I can find is pictures of his ex-girlfriend, and I can't find any pictures of his stolen car. So this is the best I could do. He is at plus 2,000. We're getting closer. So, again, well, Crystal Ball will take care of this one. I would stay away from betting on this anyway because Crystal Ball happens. Hopefully he can get over his girlfriend real quick. We can have a decent season. Darren, what are you thinking about Carson?
Well, I think the reason you can't find him in a Miami uniform is because I don't think he's been really cleared to participate in any throwing. So I don't even know if he's put on a Miami uniform.
Well, I thought they just do a Photoshop, one of those Photoshop things. I mean,
well, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, his shoulder is a huge concern. I mean, the fact that he got hurt in December. It's now June, and he hasn't
Mhm.
really. I mean, he's been cleared to do some activities, but not throwing, so he's already behind. Before the season even gets started. And again, you're in the ACC. How many chances are you going to have to impress? We talk about coaches we don't trust. At least once every year, Mario Cristobal does something that costs his team a game. And wins and losses matter when you're talking about a Heisman candidate here. I mean, and again, another week one. I mean, you got 2,000 down there in Florida. FanDuel's got 33-1. So, I mean, that's certainly a nice number. He goes out there and lays an egg at home against Notre Dame, which I think is certainly possible because he just won't have the reps. Night. He's not winning because there's really nothing on that schedule that's going to put him back into contention, especially if they're not in the ACC championship game against Clemson. Again, there's no Clemson on that schedule. They didn't play Clemson last year. What the hell, ACC? You got two of these hot teams that you want to promote your conference. Don't put the two best teams against each other at all. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Again, we talked about how one, he's not healthy. Two, we talked about those two road games at the end of November. Not exactly the warmest climates, very much anti-Miami weather, Virginia and Pittsburgh. I would avoid him here completely. I don't think he's 100% healthy. I think he's going to look rusty early on. And against Notre Dame's defense, I know they're working in a new quarterback as well, but that defense is still going to be nasty. No, sir. I don't like it. 33-1 even. I would avoid.
Any extra thoughts, Peter?
No, sir. I don't like it either. I'm with Darren on this. Yeah, he's stepping down in conference, which means he needs to stand out more to be in contention, and he's injured, right? So with all that in play, I mean, he's another guy that to me was not like a dominant force at the position either, carrying his team around. And he was on a really good team, right? All he had to do was kind of manage the team around situation here to be playing in this conference. He's going to need to look like a superstar to win this thing. I don't think that's going to happen because number one, I don't think he is one. And number two, his injury is going to be a problem. So I would completely ignore him as well here and not put a bet in that direction.
All right. Well, we're getting close there. And you want to do your final bet first, or do you want me to do mine?
Put up the odds because we got another group of some unknowns, and my lean is in that second tier. I don't want to look at us.
Well, I know.
Yeah, that's not the best view we have right here. This is not good.
Yeah, really. Jeez.
But I do have the trophy behind me, so
I still want a dinner roll. I'm not gonna lie.
Sounds great.
All right, so just looking at that second tier, and again, we talked about how the. Are you having a fire alarm or something? All right.
No, we're good. Sorry.
That second group there, you might look at that and be like, hey, who are some of these guys? Well, again, this goes with one of the points we brought up in the beginning about how a team is expected to do influences the odds. So if you look at that list there, you got Julian Sayin, I don't know how you pronounce that. Again, not somebody you would think, hey, he's a Heisman frontrunner, but he's got the team around him. But I don't like him either because he's inexperienced. If you go to John Mateer, I heard a lot of hype about John Mateer coming over from Washington State. Oklahoma's defense is looking to be pretty solid. I don't know. I just don't trust Venables. So I would avoid him here. Dante Moore and Austin Simmons and even Gunnar Stockton to an extent, you can loop them in on the board with odds just because their teams are all expected to do good. The guy I like, though, I kind of like me some Sam Levitt there at 33-1. We talked about Arizona State in our Big 12 show. Coming out of nowhere, the team was projected to finish last. They ended up winning the conference. He actually had a decent year, and I think they're going to ask to do more out of him, mainly because Scadaboo was gone. He carried the ball almost 300 times last year, so some of that's got to go to passes. So I think Levitt can definitely up his stats. I mean, he threw the ball 350 times last year. That could hit 400 with Scadaboo gone. He should be able to break 3,000 yards, could hit 30 touchdowns. I think if Arizona State at least gets into the conference championship game again, he's got to be considered. But if I was going to pick anybody to bet, I would avoid that that top 7, either because the numbers are too low or I don't trust those guys. But in that next group of 7, I like me some Sam Levitt, man. 33-1 is a nice number on a team that could very easily make the playoff again.
Love that. Love that. I mean, clearly without Scadaboo, it's a whole different thing there. And if he can stand out with that team and that team can perform, then that is him leading that team. And I think that leads you right to New York. So, I mean, that's fantastic. So I love that bet.
Well, I haven't made it. I would have to funnel money to you guys because I live in New York. We're not allowed to bet on the Heisman because we suck.
Well, we can
that
do
was
that.
Another tip. Yeah, that was the first tip we should have given out. Hey, make sure you can actually bet the Heisman where you live because I can't.
Well, I do have a bet in here and put his picture up here. We got Marcel down here at Texas A&M. There is, for a lot of things, there is sort of a buzz, at least down in College Station. They love him down there, and we're just going to pull up his schedule. Week 3, as we talked about with Lenora Sellers, the schedule is going to have a good game early. Week 3, there's a school, I don't know if you've heard of them, Notre Dame. They're a little small school. They have somewhat of a football program in Indiana, but I think that's going to be a good game. That could be at his statement game early on, and then at the end of the year, he's at Texas against the Heisman favorite. So if he can put together a good show in there, he can run, he can throw. He's pretty electric. So plus 4,000. That's what I got him at. He's actually at 5,000 on your chart now. I don't know if it went up. I don't know if my bet moved the line in the other way. But that was my bet. Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, or Marcel, as old Jim Rome fans would call back to the Latchman brothers. Yeah, I like him at plus 4,000. I'm expecting bigger things from Texas A&M as a whole. We'll get into that when we finally do our SEC preview. But I'm expecting big things from Texas A&M, and if they do that, I think he'll be there. He can at least get there to New York, and then we'll see what happens from there. But that's my bet. Plus 4,000 to Marcel Reed, Texas A&M.
The schedule's not terrible. I mean, he can certainly. I mean, the 3 road games stick out, but everything else is. I mean, at Notre Dame, at LSU, at Texas. Everything else there could certainly be winnable. Beating South Carolina would certainly help his case, I would think, late in the year when the hype really gets going.
Yeah, well, a lot of the Heisman players, even the Love kid at Notre Dame is on there for Heisman consideration, but you got Lagway on there, Nessmeyer on there, Arch Manning on there. So, I mean, he's going against a lot of Heisman front runners, and if he beats them all, I mean.
I was going to say, put that list back up and Pete, the 3 non-QB guys.
Well, that's where I'm going. You brought up the game of Notre Dame.
I know you got some
and
thoughts on there.
You brought up Love, and that's where I'm going here. It's been 2 of the last 5 have been non-QBs. I think as a non-QB, your team doesn't necessarily have to carry you the same, right? If you're a running back, and so your team might be losing some games, but you're running over people and just racking up yards, and you show yourself to be a talent that is multidimensional, that you can still win the Heisman if your team isn't great. I do think Notre Dame's going to be a good team, and I really like his attitude. And he had a comment 2 days ago, right? I just want to go out there and win it. That's a long time, 10 years ago, since a running back has won the Heisman. But maybe this year I'll have to make it a +1. I love his attitude. I love his approach. I think he's humble, but he's a great player. Is there anything coming off that injury that's a concern? I don't know. I mean, that could be, kind of the negator here. But if he's healthy and he's himself, I think he's going to have a fantastic year, and I think he has a chance for sure. Yeah, he's plus 5,000 right now. It's a longer shot. He's not a QB. There's a lot of other factors. Obviously, if Arch and Garrett go out there and look like superstars, forget it, right? But if they look, this is somebody who could step up. So I do like that action at plus 5,000 on Jeremiah Love. So I'm actually going to make that bet today on that.
I agree with that. I think if you're going to consider a non-QB out of those 3 guys, I mean, I think he's the one. I think Jeremiah Smith is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he is.
But both of those guys, him and Ryan Williams, they're working in brand new quarterbacks. That could take some time. You go 3 or 4 games where you're not statistically overwhelming. that's 25 to 33% of your season. I mean, that could affect you when it comes to time for these media members to send their ballots in. Notre Dame working in a new QB as well, but that could mean added touches, which means added stats.
Yep.
And Pete said if he's healthy, and he's driven. You lose a national championship game. I don't know if you guys remember that little 2-yard touchdown run against Penn State. That's a run from a dude who's like,
I was going to bring that up. It is powered. They just could not stop him at all.
I know. That was like the best 2-yard run I've ever seen. It took like a half hour to get done. But yeah, man, Good for you. That was like one of the greatest runs I think I've ever seen. Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree, man. If I was going to pick one of those 3 guys, that would be the guy I would pick as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, just a quick review. We got Marcel Reed at plus 4,000. Darren is leaning Sam Levitt at plus 3,300. And Pete, I think he's going to fire a bullet on Jeremiah Love going in for the Heisman at the long odds. Any final thoughts for you guys? We'll wrap this up.
No, just if you're watching the video, thanks. Leave your comments below. Who do you think's winning the Heisman? We are definitely making an effort to get this little targeting winner community up, running. Lots of comments. Please definitely share your thoughts, share your bets, share your questions, share your concerns. Comment on Pete's sexy hair. Whatever you guys want to do. Let's just get this community up off the ground and going, baby.
Absolutely. You can also email the show at cfbdudes@yahoo.com. And you can find us on Spotify and Apple as always. So once again, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.